Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet,
sponsored by Apple Capital Group.
At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show. Today, our topic is going to be talking about that notorious FICO. If you've ever seen that, it's really talking about your credit score, FICO. FICO is actually a public company, and all they do analyze and make decisions, including your credit score and other financial companies. So that's what they're all about. This actually stands for Fair Isaac Company. It was founded in 1956 by Bill Fair and mathematician Earl Isaac, which were headquartered in San Rafael in California. And it has been a standard of scores since the 50s. And it's a collaboration of all different indexes that creates your score, your payment history, the amount that you owe, the length of your credit history, new credit, and types of credit used. All of that is in a particular pie, and from that, your score comes out of it. The score is going to range from anywhere from 300 to 850, okay, for that particular score. So, of course, it's 850. If you're lucky to get there, is only a small percentage of the country who has that. But you don't have to be rich to have that type of score. You just pay your bills on time. That's all what it really amounts to. And also the length of history. I have seen in my lifetime only a handful of people who was in the 300s. It wasn't really to deal with bankruptcy. It was, of course, it really had to do with they didn't pay anybody. And they had a whole bunch of charge-off debt from installments, from credit cards, everything you could name. They just had, it was bad across the board. If you want to get to 300s, you got to have everything in all categories in order to equal that particular 300 score. So here's the breakdown. Really, 35% is your payment history, 30% is the amount that you owe, 15% is the length of history, 10% is credit, new credit rather, and so you have another 10%, which is unused credit. The FICO score is calculated from all of those several pieces, and from that, it comes from a score, and it changes. It can change several times a month, but typically it will change in the course of a month when all of the reporting hits the system and it analyzes it and then it spits it out. You have three major credit bureau reports, but there's another bureau that's coming. Right now, it's just kind of a moot point. I would advise anybody to go to your annual credit report to get a copy of the report free. Your three bureaus that you can have is TransUnion, you have Equifax/CSC, and you have Experian used to be the old TRW. CSC was purchased about 20 years ago in the mid-90s by Equifax. However, for branding reasons, they just kept in Texas CSC because they were the strongest in this particular region for branding. And also, you have TransUnion. So get your free credit report. You can get that free once a year. And sometime for just $1, you can get the scores as well. If you're looking to get a mortgage, a car, or any installment, you have to keep that FICO score up. And I'm going to explain what the percentages of those that you really need to keep up as well. So one person told me years ago, you might not be rich, but you can have a very good credit score. If you have a very good credit score, you are rich because it gives you an accessibility to anything really you want, from housing. A lot of systems today will approve you generically. When I say generically, they approve you by what your score is. If you're a 750 and above, it's an automatic approval. Really anything about 720, from car loans to closing a house on a mortgage, from anything, they can close you very quickly. From a car loan, you can get an instant, like a credit card, you can get an instant approval within a matter of seconds, and you can sign it up with the best interest rates in the country. When you go under that, then it gets a little bit more competitive. It takes a little bit longer to get approved, and it goes from that. And I'm going to break down what the credit scores are in a few minutes, but One thing you always want to do, you always want to keep your credit score as high as you can, as humanly possible. Try not to file bankruptcy. Try not to go to credit counseling. Be responsible on the things you buy. Buy what you can afford. And understand when you do your car loans, if you have a couple of them, which you can get a couple of credit loans in your installment and mortgage. If you have a mixture of all of that, credit cards, a mortgage, a card note, a couple of those, keep your installments. Those are good credit balances that you can keep together. Child support also it's recorded, so be kind of real careful about that. It makes a difference as well, and it can prevent you from closing and doing a lot of other things. Let's take a break real quick, and we'll be back with the Core Business Show. I'm Tim JK, your host, and we'll talk a little bit more about credit scores.
You're listening to the Core Business Show, sponsored by Apple Capital Group. Apple Capital Group in Jacksonville, Florida, is a commercial lender that specializes in asset-based loans, equipment leasing and financing, invoice financing, commercial real estate loans, and asset-based financing in the U.S. and Canada. Apple Capital Group is a direct lender that lends on their private equity investment portfolio. 90% of most loans are decided within 2 hours, and vendor funding within 24 hours after documents are completed, with a one-page application. No slow no's, just a quick decision and a fast yes. To get more information about lending from Apple Capital Group, call 866-611-7457. That's 866-611-7457 to speak with one of our loan specialists. Or visit us right now at applecapitalgroup.com. Welcome back to the Core. Once again, here's Tim JK.
Well, we're back again. Let's talk about the credit scores. The FICO is also like a beacon to answer someone's question. The average credit scores in the country is probably like 670. If you get past 650, you can really qualify from some very good rates. If you have 675, it puts you in the good range of credit that you're really acceptable risk. You're still going to pay a little bit more on interest, but that's the average. Equifax give you a score of 334 to 818. TransUnion give you 309 to 839. And Experian give you 320 to 844. Again, if you're going to be at 300s, you can't get anything financed. A lot of car companies and installment companies have a cutoff at 500, and that's really iffy. You must have a lot of things going for you. You mean they're going to look at your time of the job, you're going to look at how you pay anything or you pay anything at all, how much you're going to be putting down, how long have you been in your house, what type of profession you're in, what type of risk is that. They're going to look at all those factors before they grant you credit in the fives. So if you at 575, your chance is a little bit better, but they're going to have to look at all of those scenarios from your job, your occupation, how long you've been there, how long you've been at your residence, do you rent, you own. All of those become part of the scenario. When you get to 620, it gets a little brighter. You can do a little bit more with that. You're still a bad risk, but you least in the fair. You're getting in the fair the fair range. Hey, it's a little bit better if you have the other things going for yourself. A good job history. You've been at your job for a while. The occupation. You've been at your residence for a while. You're paying some things right. If there's some other circumstances that's driving your score down, and that's a different story. When you get the 640, I'm going to say 650. Before the economic crisis, at 650, you can pretty much get automatic approval within 15 minutes on a certain range of financing. 620, you get automatic. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. You put the information in, it comes back within less than 1 minute. 650 might take a little bit longer. It might can take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, what your risk rating will be. 720, you can get anything you pretty much you want, providing that the balances is okay. They're going to look at what types of credit you have to make up that as well. If you only have an installment loan of $10,000, you're 720. They're going to take a look at that. They might not give you a $50,000 car, but they're going to probably you can go up to 30. And depends on what type of job you have as well. It's going to make up that difference. So that's all about the credit scores. You can go to free annual credit report. You can go to my FICO. You can just type in that information, and you can really get a lot of information. For those who need to repair your credit, there are solutions out there. Be really cognizant on what type of company that you use to repair your credit. Yes, you can repair your credit. I'm going to recommend Lexington Law. A lot of companies, they're regulated slightly, and a lot of people have really put their faith in them, and have done a very good job in getting those negatives off your credit report. From bankruptcies, you name it, across the board. They've been really good about it, getting those things off. You're going to spend between $39 to $99 per month. If you really need some heavy hauling and you're on a deadline, like within a year to get a mortgage, and you need to really get those negatives off and allow you to build more and more credit, look at them to clean your credit report up. If you're looking to build your credit, while you're going through that process, if you get these milestones of credit from 600 and so forth, take $5,000 out of your bank, go and get an installment loan and use it as a CD. For example, go to your local bank like Capital One. Take $5,000 and make sure you put it in your name, not in your company's name, because sometimes they won't report that. $5,000, get a CD, and say I want to use this as a installment loan. And they will do a 6-month loan, or they'll do a 12-month loan, and you want it to be reported. So even though it's secured, it shows secure, however, the proceeds of that loan can work two ways. If you give them $5,000, they'll put it in the CD to earn some interest off, and they will pull money out of that savings account, whatever the proceeds, whatever, how you guys arrange it, a CD, or they give a loan against it, they'll hold that money. And what they do, if you put it in a savings account, they will just draw from that savings account. And at the end, you're going to probably the rest of the interest, maybe a couple $100 out of that for the high-risk loan. And they're happy. They made some money off of you. You're happy because you've had installment credit with them. A solid bank that's recognized, it looks pretty good. It looks extremely good on your credit report. Credit unions do the same thing. Credit unions are a little bit slower, but a bank has a lot more credibility. Credit union has a lot of credibility, but a bank is always going to have better credibility and better reporting system than a credit union, which some don't report every single month. So anyway, those are my information. Again, there's another little website you want to take a look at, Credit Karma. They've been out there for a minute. You can go to creditkarma.com, CREDITKARMA. They give you a free credit report, and it's a great site. You can do simulations. So anyway, that's my information today. Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Thank you for listening. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For more information about equipment financing and asset-based loans, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. Or call us at 866-611-7457. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And thanks again for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.